Would you fuck him? Melania Trump would fuck him. Stormy Daniels would fuck him. He's Donald Trump. And you're listening to the Minutemen Podcast. What's going on, America? We got an interesting show for you here today. Are we being censored by SoundCloud? I don't know. But just remember, everybody, would you fuck him? I'm here with my two correspondents, CT Steve.
I'm here.
And CT Squid.
Hello.
And you're listening again to the Minutemen Podcast. Alright, that's enough of that.
Now that we scared the hell out of our
and now that we've scared the hell out of everybody, welcome to the show. Alright. So a few updates for everybody and all our listeners out there. There is, we don't know whether we have a legal battle going on right now or whether it's, what's going on, but right now, our main media hub, SoundCloud, is, no longer, letting us, put anything out.
Yes.
Yeah.
They haven't, responded to us on anything through phone calls, effortless emails, we don't know. So we're just gonna assume right now, for now, that they are censoring the show. And if you like the show, please follow us on YouTube. We'll still do the show every Thursday via YouTube until this
it blows over.
Until it gets blows over.
Something's happening.
So we hope that gets resolved. But all right, so let's get started today with a little bit of the good, the bad, and the weird, huh? All right, and let me tell you guys, it's gonna be a good one, and I actually have good today. We've got some good stories here. So. Hold on, my computer can load. Okay, so does a whiskey a day keep the doctor away? And no, that's not the headline. I just made that up. A 105-year-old man credits a whiskey a day for his lifelong life.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the name right here, but yeah,
whiskey a day. Really?
A whiskey a day. I mean, we've all heard of the wine a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. His name is let's see. Jack Reynolds, who is, ironically, Jack Reynolds is his name. His name is Jack, and he drinks whiskey.
Hold on. Is it really?
Yes, this is a real story, yeah. It says, Jack Reynolds drinks a whiskey multiple times a day and credits the habit for his lifelong healthy life. He has a whiskey in his tea every morning and 2 shots of grouse in a glass with lemonade at night, and he swears by it. Reynolds' youngest daughter, Jane Goodwin, told the UK-based Metro newspaper. So that's pretty awesome. I mean
that's Jesus, dude.
That's awesome.
And that reminds me. Didn't Lemmy from Motorhead? Didn't he do that? Like survived on years of like just drinking when he had cancer. And
really?
Yeah, and it was like he drunk so much it just thinned his blood, so he avoided blood clots and all that.
I don't know. There's so many alcohol-related myths. Like my favorite one is if you get bit by a rattlesnake, go and drink a bunch of whiskey. But you shouldn't do that because alcohol is diluted. It just makes the poison run through your body faster. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It just thins your blood out. But yeah,
it does.
It's coursing through your veins like super quick.
All right, so how about we get into some bad guys? So now I got some really, really bad news. So everyone's talking about this, but we're going to include it on the bad because I also want to give people a forewarning. There is a neo-Nazi group right now on the rise. The Atomwaffen division has emerged as one of the most disturbing and volatile hate groups in America. And this is from the Huffington Post. 5 murders in 8 months. So a 18-year-old in Florida allegedly shoots and kills 2 of his roommates. A 20-year-old and also in Florida plots to bomb Signasis, I'm sorry if I butchered that, and a nuclear power plant. A 17-year-old in Virginia allegedly shoots and kills his girlfriend's parents, and a 20-year-old in California allegedly stabs a gay Jewish college student 20 times, burying him in a shallow grave. All these young white men had connections to the Atomwaffen division, a well-armed neo-Nazi group, yes, with a Charles Manson and Adolf Hitler mentality. Okay,
Wow.
I don't know if many people know about Charles Manson exactly and what Charles Manson used to preach to his followers, but he literally used to believe there was going to be a race war.
Yeah.
Helter Skelter, and whatever he wanted to believe it was.
Yeah, it was
Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter. And then he thought him and his followers would go into the bottomless pit, and then he would emerge And as you know, he said, I would rub Dark's head and be like, okay, it's okay, I'll help you rule the world. And, you know, he had become basically, essentially, king of the black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not joking. That's literally
exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He said that he would,
Him
like,
and
go into the
followers,
like, in the mire of the abyss and then
the
come
bottomless
out,
pit, yeah.
and then, like, miraculously, all blacks will just kind of, like, see him as their leader.
Yeah, because they can't govern themselves, right?
Yeah.
I think that's great. Squid, I believe you had the weird today.
Yes. All right. So, let me pull this back up again.
Okay,
Right,
well, let me just touch on
yeah.
base while he's getting that. So, you know, I just wanted to say, you know, too, on this the reason these neo-Nazi groups are having so much run of the mill here in America is because right now the Trump administration backed down on the division of the FBI, or I forget, the Central Intelligence Agency that actually oversees neo-Nazi groups.
Step down from it, and
now look what's happening. This is the result. This is the ripple effect that we're seeing already of the Trump administration. I mean, God, we've had so many killings, and none of them have been like Muslims. They've all been crazy white supremacists.
Yeah, it's always
the guy who derailed the Amtrak train. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
that guy was also
he
was part of this group.
Yeah, and it's just weird because they
it's not weird though if you really think about it. It's not weird.
In their warp reality, isn't their whole thing about them kind of protecting their race is what the whole skinhead KKK movement is and protecting the country, but yet they're sabotaging the country. They're the terrorists. So it's like they're fighting who they believe are the terrorists, but they're terrorists themselves, attacking innocents. So it's an age-old weird myth. And you're right. Just because now the government kind of like turned their back to it as a whole. Yeah. And it's now everyone's like, oh wait, you mean those races down in the South? Like, no, those races all around the United States.
Like we said, these are the new Nazis. These are the guys,
the new age guys
that don't shave their heads.
Yeah.
These are the guys that have a few black friends, but then they support horrible legislation that hurts minorities.
Minorities. Yep.
Yep. So, did you get that weird?
I found
got the weird finally.
All right, so in Arizona now, there is actually a highway of hell.
Sorry, we haven't heard that in a while. So, let me hear about this highway.
All right, so the Satanic Temple Charter of Arizona has adopted a highway. It is a highway out in Casa Grande.
Yeah.
And it's like, I looked at their Facebook page, and they've been around for about 2 years now.
Yeah, I believe this is the same group that wanted to do a prayer. I forget what it was. I might be mistaken, but they wanted to do a prayer, I guess, when the city council was doing an opening ceremony or something like that. They wanted to do something.
Oh, they wanted to do that group, like, kind of, it was like a ceremony, sort of like a prayer.
Yeah, and they were going to let it go through, and then at the last minute, people were like, no!
They had to pull out of it and say, no, you guys can't do it. But they've now adopted a highway, so if you're going down Casa Grande, you see a highway adopted by Satanic temple. I mean, you're basically going down the highway to hell.
That's so funny. I mean, all that's doing is promoting people to listen to AC/DC, really.
Well, no, I think it's actually kind of interesting. I mean, is this a result of the Trump trying to privatize infrastructure? I mean, now everybody's just buying a highway. I mean, don't drive on a highway if you're offended to satanic people,
I mean, Arizona's been selling
all these Christians are just gonna get blown off that highway as soon as they touch it. Any evangelical can't drive on it. What highway is it?
Good.
What highway is it?
Good Lord.
What highway is it?
It's a highway out in Casa Grande. They didn't say which section it was, but
that's hilarious. I'm gonna find out that stretch of road and be like, no Christians go near there ever.
Are you gonna take a picture next time too?
On the side of the road, like, don't go down that road.
Highway to hell. It literally is. So stay away from that stretch of road unless you want to get smited. My God.
Are they like trying to start their own like horror film saga where it's just like, don't go down that road? You know who goes down that road? Highway to hell.
Highway to hell.
They're trying to like start a film or something.
They were 3 Christian men just on a simple missionary retreat,
right?
And they came across a stretch of road, and they didn't know it was the Satanic road. with all the cultists killing.
Highway to Hell.
Starring Ben Affleck. Christian Bale.
Oh God, dude.
You know,
Don't give him
And
ideas,
Tobey
bro.
Maguire.
Anybody? Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm wondering if any like elderly couples have actually noticed that strip of highway's been adopted by this church.
Probably not. No one really looks into that stuff.
Yeah,
But that's why the religious blowback is gonna I mean, as soon as Christians are gonna touch that highway, it's gonna be they're just gonna be blown off the road. I mean, you're just gonna see cars go flying
All over the place.
on that stretch of highway. As soon as they just
disintegrate. As soon as they hit the highway.
I mean, you're gonna see all kinds of stuff happen. You're gonna see like little girls come driving back on the highway possessed. You're gonna see all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be crazy. I'm just saying, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. Let me tell you. All right, so what else you guys got today?
Oh my God. So with all the whole debacle what's going on with Trump and everything. I don't know if you guys been watching the news as of late or whatever, but apparently we've had
Whoa, computer.
We've had
sorry.
what was the Grammys, right? Like
Yeah.
gives a shit about them.
Yeah,
But
that got all political.
yeah, so they got all political, right?
Mhm.
And people were like, oh, the whole Me Too movement and all of this, and they're all good movements. But somehow people are getting offended now that people are their favorite artist isn't winning.
Oh, what, Jay-Z?
So,
yeah, I noticed
not
that.
just Jay-Z, but just people in general now. Can you get triggered in a way when your favorite artist doesn't
Yeah, people do all the time.
or-
People get triggered by Donald Trump.
I mean,
They do.
like, when I mean offended, I mean on the same level as another person being physically or sexually assaulted. That type of, like, outrage. Like, this is an outrage. There needs to be another recount. This is just as bad as...
Dude, I won't lie. I think it was all purely political, what happened to Jay-Z. I won't lie, because he did that whole blowback on Trump. I just think the Grammys were like, we can't give it to this guy. We're going to be seen as, like, being politically biased or
Showing
something.
favoritism.
I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, because he got nominated, I think it was, like, for 28 things
yeah,
or something.
yeah, he
It was
did
a lot.
win.
Or
And then,
48,
like,
28. I'm sorry if
Yeah,
I'm
and there
wrong
was,
on the
like,
number.
4 for, like, major ones, and he won, like...
Yeah, dude. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see how you could be nominated for that many things and not win. So
Yeah, it's a little surprising.
And I get that, and that's... I don't watch award shows, but I get the political aspect of award shows. But to just be comparing that type of shit to other tragic events is a little fucking much, if you ask me.
Well, I'll watch the Oscars, but that's about it.
But you're not gonna get. Oh my God! Are you? This is.
I don't know, I think America-
Will Smith didn't win.
I think.
Yeah, he
Sorry,
didn't.
sorry to interrupt you, but actually, I have to disagree with you there. I think everybody took a big, hard, I guess you could say, snowflake approach when Leonardo DiCaprio didn't win.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
true.
think about that.
That's been a
So I'm just
huge-
saying, everyone got upset about that. I mean, yeah, we were upset about that.
Right, but then when he won,
Everyone's
it was
like, oh,
okay.
Everybody was
Okay.
so joyous.
Yeah.
I'm actually still angry about that.
Well,
You know why?
different.
Yeah, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
We won't get into that. All right, so let's move on with a little bit another interesting article I found. So, according to High Times, 11 industries that benefit from weed legalization. So here we go. I'm gonna read some of you. The retail business. Believe it or not, 64 markets opened around dispensaries, and well, they actually did the study, and they after the Amendment 64, retail stores popped up in neighborhoods all around dispensaries, like pizza shops and everything like that. It actually drove business, because people get the munchies. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
So, that was one thing that happened. Another thing, let's see here. There's a lot, actually. So, the job market is one of them that marijuana weed legalization benefits. Forgive me, everybody, for my stupid computer here. Okay, jobs, of course. Marijuana is actually creating a lot of jobs from, let's see. Sorry, this computer is... So, according to the survey that was done, just in 2015, over 18,000 new full-time jobs were created due to marijuana.
That's amazing.
Yep.
1,800.
Yes, because things like this, dispensary owners might hire interior designers.
They will.
Dispensary owners hire security companies to, guard their stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that the marijuana industry, helps. I mean,
planners and
everything, bakeries, chefs and stuff, because some people like to eat marijuana. So that's another one, edibles. So that's another one that marijuana is doing. That was just in 2015.
Oh, that's
so
on this list too, with number 3 being tourism.
Tourism.
Now that's big.
Yeah, that is
really
well.
big.
That's interesting because, for one thing, I think it's hilarious how we in Arizona, for instance, won't legalize weed because we see no profit to it. But look at all this right now. It's saying right now that everyone's going to Colorado.
Yeah.
For tourism.
For tourism.
Yeah,
that's
with
true.
77 million visitors, spending 19.1 billion in 2015.
In Colorado.
That's in Colorado. That could be here in Arizona.
In Colorado, dude. I can understand California, whatever. But Colorado, dude.
I mean, that's probably what I'm just guessing. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, so I'm just going to admit that I'm guessing here. But that might be what Amsterdam, used to get. Amsterdam probably was always flooded with a lot of money until the states probably started legalizing marijuana. I would actually like to see that number. How much has changed in that? The criminal justice system. This is actually my favorite.
That's interesting.
Yeah, before 2015, skeptics feared marijuana legalization would only encourage criminal activity, but data shows a different story. By 2016, the legal market fulfilled 70% of the marijuana demand, close to the 90 expected rate. So basically, the marijuana demand was fulfilled that much that people didn't need to go out and do it by illegal means.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's cool.
And it said that, furthermore, cannabis-related cases saw a decline dropping by 81% from 2012.
So that alone from the Criminal Justice Division will lower the rate of people going to jail for stupid, mindless charges.
And leave law enforcement the ability to focus on harder crimes.
On harder crimes, it's a win-win.
Now, here's one that we've actually fought a little bit with some of our politicians here in Arizona. Education. Marijuana is actually helping to fund education in Colorado. Through Colorado's Building Excellent School Systems Today program, or BEST, school received state funding of up to $80 million in 2015 and 2016 to improve the building technology and super building and technology. So basically, they got better things.
Right.
So that's awesome. I mean, I think that's great. I mean,
but it's a double-edged sword, though. It's education.
Yeah, but that's funded by marijuana. I know some people think, oh, that's
superior. There's not a lot of people that are going to go to that. But
wow. So here's another one I was actually surprised by. Banks. Because of concerns over federal status, banks have historically refused to work with marijuana business. Now things are changing. Banks recognize the benefits of working with the cannabis industry. By the end of 2016, the number of financial service providers, including the credit unions, banking for marijuana business, rose to around 400 institutions. That's incredible.
Jesus, dude, that's a lot.
That's incredible.
Insane.
Here's another one. This one I'm actually is pretty much known. The stock market. Recent legalization in other states shows another market trend, and that is after the first day of legal sales in California, stock shares in cannabis-related firms rose as much as 24%, adding $19 billion to marijuana-related firms.
Good.
Right?
That's insane. That's crazy too.
Real estate. Who says white picket fences and weed can't go together? Legal green causes property values to rise, especially closer to the residents. That I did not expect. So the closer the residence is to a dispensary, the higher their property value is going up.
Yeah, it's basically so they're making it seem like since all of this is getting legalized now, marijuana, that it's going to be like a high-rise home. So the more you want to get moved closer to it, yeah, of course, your house is going to rise. But that's a higher demand that people want. You know what I mean?
Check this out, Steve. In Denver alone, pot shops outnumber standalone Starbucks 5 to 1.
5 to 1?
That is until Starbucks puts an instant-worthy marijuana maca frappiato on their menu.
Okay, you know how
that's what they said. Actually, I wish I had made that up.
But you know what? You know how I'm gonna say this: all the coffee drinkers out there and the weed smokers, how big this is. 5 to 1. That's a big number, right? Alone, but coffee right now is on a decline because of the whole scares of it being cancerous right now, and there's a lot of negative effects, and it's actually shortening your life.
Oh, Steve.
But that's just here. Now that's here or there. Starbucks alone, right? The conglomerate known as Starbucks, right? It just takes over everything. Outnumbering that to 5 to 1. for just pot shops, and that's in Denver, Colorado.
My name
That's
is
insane.
Dan, and I like to drink Starbucks, man. I think you're totally hyping on my vibe, man.
Walk on down to that shop. buddy.
Okay, so prescription drugs, even better. Legalized marijuana helps reduce prescription drug use. Studies show that states with legal bud saw Medicare prescriptions reduction for drugs used to help conditions treatable by marijuana. I mean, you talk about the government wanting to save a buck on some stuff. There you go, legalize pot. Then you guys won't have to worry about Medicaid cuts. We don't need a cut Medicaid. Everyone's smoking pot.
Yeah, right?
That's what I'm saying. Agriculture is another one here. Let's see if my computer will go. Let's see.
Agriculture.
Now that it's legal, demand for weed has increased. Because of this demand, commercial growing has seen effects of unemployment because of this demand, but beyond the benefit of more agriculture jobs. So treating marijuana farming like we treat other crops helps us gain stricter regulations of the growing process, including limits on pesticides usage, water pollution, wetland conversion, air pollution, and local land use laws. So basically, because you can grow marijuana indoors, it's actually helping a lot of people getting agriculture jobs, people growing pot outside indoors.
Because of the research that is necessary to grow it.
Yeah, the government's growing pot. For people who don't know, the government's been growing pot forever. They already know everything about weed. They have their own version of pot called G13. Right. Okay, here's another one. This is actually the dark side here. So the black market. So far, only 8 states have legal recreational weed, alongside states where buying bud might still be calling that sketchy guy on the burner phone. Legal markets cause illegal market demand to thrive. For instance, in 2017, California's Department of Food and Agriculture claimed that the state produced 13.5 million pounds of marijuana, but Californians only enjoy 2.5 million pounds of that yield. Legal recreational marijuana in all 50 states might offer the control to regulate across the country. So,
I mean, it's a black market now.
So weed legalization just affects the people who are in the industry. Sure, growers, sellers, consumers might seem the primary beneficiaries to ban being lifted, but there are plenty of other markets that benefit from weed legalization. And if federal prohibition becomes the thing of the past, the possibilities are endless. So I get what they're saying here. So basically what they're saying is that any state that doesn't have pot legal, the black market's actually benefiting off that. They're not making the money. All the dealers are making the money. Yeah. And might I add, a lot of the dealers control the opioid epidemic. Because, sometimes people might be like, I don't have pot, but I got this that's a little bit stronger for you. It's an opioid. Yeah. That's the whole... They talk about all the time how marijuana is the gateway drug. Well, realistically, the dealers are the gateway drug, and marijuana is, that's what happens. And that's what happens when you have it, on prohibition. I mean, we've seen this over the years. We saw it with alcohol. And
it's bad. I mean, because this is, right, I mean, I can see the argument. It's a big chain because the black markets are, obviously, it's bigger for the dealers, and the dealers are giving it to the pushers on the street, and that's just destroying communities. I see that, but on the upside, it's helping so many people with diseases and chronic pains and such like that, and just making it legalized from all the stats that we're that we've said on the show countless times. There's more positive than negative, because marijuana, as we all know, is the gateway drug. It's not. It's just it's a plant-grown substance like anything else. And there's way more harsher drugs out there that are also being manufactured by the government, like synthetic cocaine.
Yeah, synthetic drugs
destroys people.
Yeah.
And then they encourage other drugs like.
Might I add, Kristen Cinema, who voted for that. You voted for the prescription drug companies that like to produce synthetic marijuana. Gross.
Disgusting. Which
anyway,
that's the real gateway drug that gets people on the bath salts and
yeah.
Such.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back everybody to the Minutemen Podcast. We are sitting down now with Lucas Maximus.
Hello.
How's it going, Luke? How you doing out there in Cali?
Pretty good. It was really nice out today. No earthquakes, and no other sex offenders came out today. So I'd say
That's a win, man.
That is a good win.
we'll wait another good job, Hollywood. Put another number on the ticker.
Alright, so we're going to be kicking off the next part of the show with DACA. So, as we reported last time on the show, and we were right, God, we should just kick it back and talk about it again, how we said I believe it was Lucas Maximus, I will credit him to that title, the Republicans were being better at being the resistance than the Democrats were.
Yep.
So, it's kind of funny that all this went down and how the Democrats have completely, abandoned the Dreamers. But we're going to get a little, not into that. I wanted to talk about a little bit about what Arizona has with the DACA. So did you guys know Arizona is home to 4% of all DACA recipients?
I was kind of expecting a bigger number.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Yeah, 4% of all DACA recipients are for Arizona. And how many of our congressmen and state representatives have we heard talking about it? I mean, some of the ones we necessarily support. I know Steve Wicker talks about it.
Right.
Yeah, he has.
I know Deidre Abu talks about it.
Yes.
I know Joe Bisaccia talks about it.
Yes.
But I haven't heard anybody else. I haven't heard Kristen Sinema talk about it.
Oh, no.
I haven't heard my good friend Tom O'Halloran talk about it. I know you listen to the show, Tom, because you follow us. I know you listen, buddy. Where you at, man? Where you at?
Good old Paul Gosser has definitely a strong opinion on DACA.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the guy, he says arrest the illegal immigrants. Never mind the fact that technically DACA have a legal status. It's, he says, like, yeah, you should, that the police should have arrested the DACA, the Dreamers when they were at the State of the Union.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. And we all know what Sheriff Joe's opinion is on it. Deport them.
Deport them.
Deport them. Deport all of them.
How he's even worse than Trump in that aspect. He's just like, no, just deport them.
People who have no knowledge of anything else besides America for years, who don't even know any other language, who don't even know anything about the other country. They're going, and I want to just kind of touch base on this. You know what the most illegal immigrants are in this country?
Who's that?
Asians.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asians.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's actually mostly
because
Asians.
people with
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, actually, everyone.
Hispanics have our third generation now, so
Yeah.
they're not actually immigrants.
No.
They're citizens. Asians are the top, and as a matter of fact, I believe was like 2016 where Hispanics were like number 3,
Yeah.
Asians number 1, and then it was like Eastern Europeans number 2.
Yeah, we can credit Trump a little bit about this. His rhetoric towards everything that's going on with immigration has taken down immigration quite a bit, but also because Mexico's economy is actually getting better.
Yeah.
They are fighting the cartels, and they are winning that fight quite well. I mean, there was just a recent report I heard that the UN has actually said that they will actually go in and now fight the cartels if need be.
Yeah.
And we're giving aid to the Mexican government for to fight the cartels.
Right.
We ourselves as
Giving
a country are fighting the cartels.
Right.
But we're also curbing the cartels by what, like we were just talking about, the report that we are taking away some of their markets, like marijuana. We're
taking away a big market.
Taking away a big market, and one of the things they help now is the legal opioid problem. That's one of theirs. Not the prescription part of it, but the heroin epidemic is actually part of that. That is a big part of it. But that's a topic for another story. But it just it really gets me how such a state like Arizona is not seeing more people shouting at the rooftops right now, especially from the Democrats. You would think if the Democrats really wanted the votes out here, they would pander to a crowd that makes up a majority of Arizona.
Fight for the actual ground break. Like you said, the battleground state.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Who do you think's gonna win? The people out there in Sun City? Huh?
Of course.
But if they do try and fight, is it going to work for them in the end?
Yes, it would work for them. Half of the people here, come on, it's Arizona, man.
It is.
It's Arizona. There's a huge Latino community.
Oh.
There's a good black community, too. Good African-American community here as well. So, I really don't see, and like Deidre was saying, a majority of people out here, it's the independents you gotta get. The independents are the key. And I think a lot of those independents are a lot of minority voters out here.
For the most part, yes.
I just think if you can get more of those people to the polls, that you would do a lot better
Get
job.
them
But you gotta fight for them, man. You gotta give them something to fight for.
How about get them interested first before just jumping to like vote for me? It's like, well, who are you, and how am I going to, bond with you? How am I going to get behind your corner?
How am I going to represent you?
You know?
Luke, what do you think about the whole DACA in Arizona?
Well, the DACA thing is a weird, because again, as is pointed out, the DACA legislation. Hold on. So the DACA legislation is overwhelmingly positive. Again, this is 800,000 people who came here as kids through no fault of their own. They don't have to. They can't have a criminal record. They, have to be employed. They have to be in school. These are, for lack of a better word, the model minority status of most immigrants. There's no reason why they shouldn't be given legal status. If anything, obviously we need to move towards putting more people in the Dreamer program, if it doesn't get completely destroyed.
I think that's a great point. But, I want to make another point here. And I get this. I had a conversation actually this morning with a friend about this, and I was saying it's the right-wingers, man. They think the system that we, we want to get immigrants that have skills, that have merit. We do that anyway! We already do that! We already do that! They're like, it's the immigration process. The immigration process is too easy. Visas should only be yearly. Do you know how hard it is to get a visa? And I'm being dead serious. For a person from Mexico, it's 18 years. For a person from the Philippines, it's 19 years. That's from the Department of Immigration. That was last year's numbers. I don't have this year's, but that's last year's numbers. I looked them up. Yeah, it takes 18 years for some people. People die waiting for their visas.
They do.
People die waiting for the visas, and that's the main problem. It's expired visas that keep some people here. And so they're just like, I think the best example I ever heard of that was from, oh my God, I forget his name, the guy on late night, HBO. I love him to death.
Bill Maher?
Not Bill Maher.
John Oliver.
John Oliver. I can't believe I was blanking on his name. John Oliver was like, it's like saying, I'll wear a condom to prevent lice. It's like, okay, you can do that, but that's not really going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And I hear so many of this from the right-wingers. They get so mad. They're like, those immigrants taking up the job. Stop getting mad at the immigrants about the people that have such less power. Be mad at the system. Be mad at those companies that do that take advantage of. They're not only taking advantage of you, they're taking advantage of them as well.
You're fighting your fellow person who's in the trenches with you, rather than fighting the actual system. It's so stupid.
And if you were in the same position of where, if you were in the same, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to take dirt money so I can send money back to my family so they can have a better life, you would do it too.
You would?
You would. I don't even want to hear people say, no, I wouldn't. No, morality is stronger. No, it's not.
Oh, just, all you gotta do is push back on right-wingers and say, what jobs are they taking? And most of them would be like, the farming jobs. It's like, you want to go pick fruit? You want to go do that? You want to go clean toilets? They do a lot of the jobs we don't like.
They do, and it's like, hospitality work, like being a maid, janitors.
Yeah.
Gardeners actually doing construction work. A lot of them do construction work.
Right there, that's the nail right there.
Yeah.
That's the nervous. Like the construction workers. The hard-working American, made jobs. Well, again, it's the thing of they work way harder and do jobs that you should be doing yourself. Yeah. If you're complaining that you don't have a job like construction working or plumbing, I bet you have someone doing your lawn for you.
Right.
So it makes no sense for you to scream at another person when you need to be looking at the government that's supplying those jobs.
But like how Rob said, those right-wingers, they're saying this, they're taking our jobs, but you know what, like now you're saying,
it's like, what? Really?
I mean, if you're saying this, these guys are giving back. They pay taxes.
They do. Taxes, most of them don't see any benefit of.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. They don't even receive shit. And they're just like, all right, well, do you see them bitching and be like, it's the white man's responsibility to give me money? No, they're just like, no, I need to go back out there and actually achieve the American dream.
Right. That barely exists anymore. Any other thoughts, Luke? You got anything else to add to that before we move on?
Well, the last part is I don't know if you guys spoke about the bipartisan bill last time around. The proposal was expanding the DACA program to about 2 million. Correct? it was a 5-point thing. It was going to expand the 2 million. It was going to severely restrict, though, legal immigration. It was going to include money for the wall, increased border security, and then an end to the new phrase that's being thrown around a lot, chain migration.
That's sad, too, by the way, to get rid of.
Yeah. So, which of course, at this point, Trump's rhetoric has now shifted what one might call the Overton window on, a lot of this nationalist, nativist talk. For years, the dog whistle was, it's not immigrants we're against illegal immigrants. We don't want to create an unfair system from the people that came here legally. And now we're in a situation where the Republicans are pushing forward restrictions on the supposed legal immigration they had no issue with. So expect to see this, unless the blue wave can really shut this shit down. Expect to see more of this. Expect to see more pushback on legal immigration. Like, they got that foothold. They have that itch, and they're taking for a mile.
Absolutely.
They no longer have to pussyfoot around the idea of, we're not against immigrants. We're against illegal immigrants. They now can throw that. They're now able to throw that at the table. They're now able to present the idea that, let's talk about legal immigration. Let's talk about curbing this thing that has been fundamental in the U.S. labor system since it began. These changes would change the structure of the American economy on a fundamental level.
Yeah.
If you're going to start curbing, legal immigration, if you start curbing the B-1 visas, that starts to get a lot too. That's actually, no joke, that is genuinely a terrible issue, and it is going to, and I think it's an issue that doesn't get brought up a lot, just because a lot of people have that assumption that it's the tech industry, everybody's rich, everybody's doing well if you got those jobs, but the glass floor is there, and it's threatening to break, a lot like how the legal profession broke a couple, decades back, where there were just too many lawyers now, and the legal profession is no longer a gateway to, well-paying professional jobs. The tech industry is threatening there. The B-1 visas is that. But again, we're looking at the threat of the nationalist side of the Republican Party pushing towards less immigration, more towards, and I mean, if they get that inch, yes, the mainstream Republican Party position will eventually completely remove the dog whistle. It will become a coded white nationalist party.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. The modern Republican Party is dying, and it's being mutated into this white nationalist party. But, my biggest fear is, when does it end? Because, they're going to get rid of chain migration. If they're going to get rid of DACA, why not why not born citizens? Why not people that have a parent from, a different country, and then a parent from the United States that, and they're born here?
Yeah, like if your grandparent was,
What's to stop that?
what's to stop it?
Your father's from Mexico, your mother's from the United States, but, you were born here in the United States?
Fishy. It's like, even though your mother was born in the United States, and you're born in the United States, but your grandfather, he was born
in Mexico.
It's a little fishy. We're going to have to... I mean, what's going to stop them?
What's going to stop that?
Listen, ICE right now is tracking people's license plates.
They're tracking not only that, they're tracking activists now.
They are.
They are.
They're
They are
like
using the
legitimately
NSA,
and
they are using the NSA surveillance program to track activists right now.
Dude, like, what's going to stop them? Really, if they're doing that, I mean, yeah, well, what's to stop them to saying, like, hey, part of our taxes form now is you have to fill out this other form stating where you came from, like 5 generations back. Like for everybody.
Yeah. I just think it's a damn shame. But let's go ahead and, I think everyone had really good points around the table to make here. Let's go ahead and touch back into our main topic tonight, which is what everyone is talking about, I guess. And, and I'm going to keep saying it. We were talking about it first, but, and I want to apologize to our listeners, too, that we've been so behind on it. This show, we built this show off a lot of political hypocrisy, a political comedy. That's what we do. And yes, we do discuss Russia, but this case has been breaking up so much. I mean, so many breaking stories, just one after the other. It's just so hard to keep up with. It really is.
Yeah.
So we apologize if we've ever given some misinformation on this subject, because it's so hard to follow. But as we go on, it's starting to come to light right now, and I think we really need to touch on a really huge subject right now, which is this, we mentioned it a few shows back, which was this memo.
Oh yeah.
This Nunes Memo, this stupid memo that they keep talking about. They're like, this is going to blow the whole lid off of everything. It's going to be a Democrat conspiracy. And Nunes, and what's interesting is Trump's new top FBI official. God, I don't have his name right here. If you guys can get it for me, he actually said straight up, right now Trump and the FBI are fighting because they do not want the memo released on the basis that the memo has too many discredibilities in it. There's so many facts in there that are non-facts that they think will pollute the actual truth of the investigation. Right. But in hindsight, that is what Trump is trying to do. I mean, this is essentially like a book they have right now that they're like, look at this. This is the know-all, tell-all book, and guess what? We wrote it. That's literally what they're doing right now.
Why are they doing that? Are they trying to make like a big, huge?
Well,
what's with the big?
This is what this
break,
is. But
though you don't. It doesn't work like that.
But Steve, this is what we've been talking about all along on this show, and this is why I wanted to do this show tonight on this. Is because this is what we said was happening. The Republicans would do anything and everything to protect themselves from Donald Trump. They're not protecting Trump. They are protecting themselves from him. And if he goes down in this investigation, the whole Republican Party will go down.
That's why
they helped. They colluded. They distracted. They defied the justice system. They made the House Intel Committee today look stupid. Nunes did. I mean, that's what everyone is saying. He completely discredited the whole House Intel Committee, which I didn't think had very much credibility to begin with Gowdy on the whole Intel Committee. But seriously.
Yeah. I mean, it's a clown show, but the thing is, that's the thing. You're making such a good point because we've said this before. Trump is an army of one, and he's distanced himself from, everything, and including the Republican Party. So yeah, they're now like.
You know why though, right? His base, the base.
Yeah. It's always about the base.
Well, no, it wasn't, because at first when he was, both sides, and he's making all these stupid comments, and he's not calling these out. Obviously we were saying like. Republicans are taking notes like, okay, that's a check mark, and we're getting to this point where they're slowly backing away, but it's an obvious point now, where they're almost at that point where they've got the door shut, and they're, and everyone's looking for this stupid ass, like, here's the Watergate scandal, like the big cracker, like the ultimate, like this is gonna get him.
This is gonna totally get Mueller and everything.
Yeah, Mueller, and this is gonna be like you said, like this is gonna be it, and. Why they keep thinking that this story's going to be it, and then it gets debunked, or this is going to be it.
I have the story right here. It's Christopher Wray. Yeah. He's actually clashing with Donald Trump right now, saying that the memo, the memo has too many irregularities about it. That it would just, like I said, it would pollute the whole truth right now. And there's just there's a lot of insane, the GOP right now. I mean, there's been so many guys on here. Like, there was I forget his name, Jeffrey Tobin on CNN. He lost his mind.
He did
on CNN the other day when he he was talking about because he was talking about how the GOP is just basically a bunch of guys in tinfoil hats right now. They believe in anything that's a conspiracy that will get them out, that will get Trump out of this investigation.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's like so blatantly obvious. And then to put the cherry on the cake right now, besides having Paul Manafort indicted, and before we move on, let me just tell everyone what this memo pertains to. Is because the FBI wanted to put surveillance on Carter Page because they felt Carter Page was a foreign agent, even though he was contacted by a foreign agent, and he'd been making recent trips to Russia, frequently, and he wanted Donald Trump to meet with Russians. They even had a judge sign over a warrant. Two judges, the same judge actually signed a warrant to follow him both times. And now these Republicans are saying, "Oh, it's a bias thing. It's all a liberal conspiracy." But even so, did you guys hear the memo that was written? The two FBI agents. So here is a really, really good story. I mean, I thought this one just took the cake for me this week, and I got to find it real quick, so forgive me, everybody. But it is pretty funny. So the very FBI agent that they're saying, was part of the two FBI agents that were part of the whole, text messages.
Yeah, the one agent, right?
Yeah, so basically, the one agent, actually, I don't have his name, so if anyone can get his name for me, please pull it up.
Peter, what is his name? Peter.
Isn't it Shalatsky? It's a weird name. Shalatsky, I don't know.
Yeah, Shalatsky. Let's just go with that because I can't say.
I can't say his name either. That guy basically, he was one of the key figures of drafting the speech for James Comey with against Hillary Clinton. So that when they had shut the whole Hillary Clinton email probe down.
Yeah.
When they opened back up, he was the guy that actually wrote the speech that everyone was like, oh, that does it, that condemned Hillary Clinton. Yeah. So this guy actually helped Donald Trump essentially get elected, and the Republicans are still like, nope, he's biased. He's biased.
He really wrote the woman's death certificate.
It's actually Peter Strzok.
Whatever.
Peter. The first draft of the letter that then FBI Director James Comey sent to Congress in August 2016, announcing that the Bureau was reopening an investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. Irony.
But it was
huge irony.
Okay. And by the way, the letter was sent like 11 days
before the presidential election. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was striking everybody's ire as well, where they're just like, well, it was less than a month away. I'm like, okay.
And remember when people were saying the FBI is being biased for Trump? Remember that?
Like, help the guy win. Though.
Remember when we heard the report that the FBI is Trumpland?
Yeah. Yep. They made a documentary called Trumpland.
Remember that though? But they said the FBI was Trumpland, and that and I keep hearing this from everybody in Washington too. The FBI is the most conservative bureau in America. They're not Democrats. They're Republicans.
Yeah.
So they're essentially attacking their own party members right now. I don't know, Luke. I want to get your input here on this whole Russia thing because I got some more to add to it.
Well, the Nunes thing feels. It does feel like a ploy. It's supposed to go out tomorrow. I have a very strong feeling that it won't amount to anything. Again, if the FBI is saying that there's irregularities, then it's all going to fall down partisan lines. I think the Republicans are going to believe the memo, and the Democrats aren't going to believe it. It's going to be as simple as that. The one thing that interests me, and one thing that hasn't been brought up, was that one of the other reasons that the FBI, the CIA, and I believe there's like the three agencies wanted to were against the release of the memo was the fear of sensitive information, and that's a good point because if this memo is literally going to expose ongoing operations, especially going on in Russia, it feels like one of the dumbest things Republicans can do. They will literally compromise national security. They could compromise, ongoing intelligence operations, around the world. Not that I'm super keen on the deep state, but still, the Republicans might very well compromise, global State Department-wide operations just because they're afraid of their boss is getting the heat on him. In fact, they're doing it even without review by any of the agencies. Which they've been requesting to at least review the document so that they can point out anything that might be.
They're not even letting the intelligence community look at it. They're not even letting the Democrats actually have a memo too right now that is a rebuttal to their memo. Right. And guess what? They're releasing their memo, but not the Democrats' memo.
Wow.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's at this point, I think it's the partisanship at Washington is kind of getting to. The Republicans are doing this to just win at all costs. I don't think there's any more. There's nothing more. It's not anything deeper. It's just naked, like trying to get ahead. Again, whatever Mueller is looking up, whatever this, the Russia investigation, the amount of smoke that's pointing to a fire. Excuse me. That seems to be where we're headed. So I don't expect this Nunes thing to amount to anything. Again,
neither do I.
If it was going to be anything, they would have already released it.
Right.
If this thing could have nipped the Mueller investigation in the bud, they would have already released it. They're holding off to kind of try to build interest, to try to direct the narrative. I don't think it's working. I've yet to see any even in the even in the media, which obviously is anti-Trump anyway. I don't see this gaining traction. I don't even think the Republican side, the Republican media, has really pushed for it. They seem to kind of suggest that that it has some merit, but I don't see it having any merit at all. At most, again, the text messages at most seem to just suggest that two agents thought he was an idiot.
Along with Bernie Sanders and every other political figure out there then and then.
I know, it's ridiculous that, stop acting like people. It's weird that people think Trump's an idiot. We read, we saw the Fire and Fury. Literally everyone thinks he's an idiot. This is not bias, goddamn morons.
Yeah. But I have a completely different take on it. Completely. I don't know whether you guys want to agree with me or disagree with me. This is my fear of everything going on. What I see what he's heading for right now, and I've been saying this for a while, is he's just always been testing the waters of his power and the limit of his power. I think right now, if he was to fire Mueller, nothing would happen. Andrew McCabe already. He got rid of Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe stepped down. Now, whether you want to say that was on his own accord or he was forced out, I think he was forced out. Because Trump was attacking him left and right over his wife being involved, with getting Hillary Clinton money, yada, yada, yada. But he pushed Andrew McCabe out. Now, and next is Rosenstein. All he has to do is get to Rosenstein. If he can find a way to muscle out Rosenstein or get rid of Rosenstein or find a way to say that, and that's what they're trying to do with this memo, say that Mueller's investigation is biased. I mean, there was a report saying that Trump wants to arrest Mueller. That's the ultimate goal that he wants to do.
Yeah.
That he would prosecute
him. Yeah, that was like one of his things where he was thinking about it.
Yeah, he was thinking about that. He would just go and straight up arrest him. And you know what? I know you guys say, oh, that's too much. It would be the line. But what is the line anymore? We keep talking about this. The shock factor here in the States is gone.
It is.
I mean, this should have been over and done with a long time ago. The day he fired James Comey, they should have been pressing for his impeachment then and there.
Yes.
I haven't even got to the ultimate point, though, but we've been seeing a pattern of this all the time. How much more do you need? You've seen him, you've seen him fire James Comey. You've seen him try to fire everybody and undermine everything about the investigation.
Anybody who's investigating him. Anybody. Any and everybody. See, I'm not kidding. Any and everybody who's not even just investigating him, but who has, provoked him in a way where he didn't like it or went against him on any type of practice is gone.
And let me just point out another thing, too, and we could get this argument a lot towards us, the whole Trump being Putin's bitch. And, we wrote this back in November when we bombed Syria, and everyone's like, see? Donald Trump is not Putin's bitch. He's bombing Syria. Yeah, he bombed an empty airfield. And then what did he just do for the Russians right now? Didn't push any sanctions whatsoever. How much goddamn evidence do you need against the guy? How much evidence do you need?
They need to see the money being handed over to the Russians.
Well, hopefully Mueller's seeing that. Hopefully there's a goddamn P-tape against him, because I don't know, man. At this point, I just don't know what else he could do.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's why I think you guys' points are great, but I just don't know how much more he could possibly do for people to be like, you know what, that's it. We can't do this no more. Republicans and Democrats. And they have plenty to go on. They have plenty of conflicts of interest from him. With his properties, with the money laundering from Paul Manafort, how he receives money from foreign countries. I mean, we could talk about that all day long. And, that was the other thing, too. Is he knew everything about Flynn. It's already been proven that he knew everything about Flynn. Pence knew everything about Flynn as well. They knew he was receiving money from Turkey. And then, taking out those rebel groups for the Turkish government. And then, how much more evidence do you need against the guy? That's all I'm saying. I said recently I think he was getting impeached, but that was only because I said that I thought with Steve Bannon's departure and him getting a fight with Steve Bannon that his base would in fact choose Bannon over Trump. But that is not the case. The base is staying with Trump, and that's the fucking scariest part about it. Not only that, but 81% of evangelicals voted for the guy. That's insane!
You know what?
White evangelicals, 81% of white evangelical voters voted for the guy. The guy who committed, the murder at the Charlottesville protest, on his laptop he had a picture of Donald Trump on a golden throne?
Yeah, he did.
Some of these Trump supporters, they're that, delusional in their worshipping of him?
Yeah. and it's probably because they saw the show *Handmaid's Tale*, and they treated it like they treated it like we treat Star Trek. They're like, oh, there we go.
They're like, whoa, this was how it should have been when they wrote this is. Good Lord, I don't think so, man. I really.
I just think that you guys keep thinking there's going to be this line that's going to get crossed. And I'm saying that line it would have been crossed a long time ago.
I don't want to like talk from both ends, man, and say that there isn't any line because there really isn't. But I can't not see that if something happens with this Mueller thing, that nothing will happen. I just think the Republicans are just living like
fat cats, man.
Dude,
they're living like fat cats for their donors.
I mean, we've said it before. The rich gets richer. Business as usual. But dude, at that point, if something happens to Mueller, right?
I think it's a coup.
Happens. If he gets arrested, though. Dude, there has to be something other than outrage. There has to be like, okay, this is straight up dictatorship.
And let's just say this does happen. And I'm gonna let you get your point in a second. Let's just say that does happen, and the Democrats do nothing. They are paid opposition.
But well, that's what I mean.
That would be proof the Democrats are paid to be weak.
I mean, oh man, it's so tough because they're already seen that way. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, this DACA thing has torn the resistance movement.
They're done.
Apart.
I mean, they were done. Really, that last thing when we had the whole government shut down and they just walked away again, that was sort of a lot of people's last.
Like, whoa! Now people, I hope people are, and I see are turning to more the progressive side and seeing what us progressive them
they
talking
have to.
about.
Well, they have to. They have no other opposition. What are they going to do? We'll be like, well,
Republican?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, the Republicans are winning.
Oh God!
What the hell you got against Joe Stein?
I know. I love Joe Stein.
It's like, oh my God, it's so tough, dude. I can't see it. I got to disagree with you. I have to see that America will see that. Even if they're for Trump, because we've seen people that are for Trump
that attention enough. People don't care.
I don't know, man.
People that do care are his base, and they don't care.
I see America scared, and they have no direction. And with that, they have nothing but to look at what's going on. And even if you don't know what the actual facts of what's going on, you see that this man getting fired and he was investigating Trump. That has to provoke somebody, even the dumbest of the dumb. The blindest of the blind can see that.
Squid, okay, go ahead and get your point. Squid, I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. Well, I mean, if we go back a year, and I brought this up too, is these evangelicals, from the first moment Trump was the Republican nominee, they kept on saying that he's Christ reborn, he's our savior for this country. Did
you hear a majority of them saying God put Trump there?
Yes, I heard that. It's these crazy lunatics that just keep believing that Trump is the best thing ever. He's
Kool-Aid.
He is the Kool-Aid. He's like the Kool-Aid man. But it's just insanity for people to believe that he is Christ the Savior, and he's not. I mean, he's pretty sure.
Do you believe with this happening? Do you believe people are just gonna let that go? I don't give a shit how crazy you are.
People are not gonna let it go. I'm sorry.
They don't want a dictatorship. I'm sorry. Some people do. Maybe they could believe and pray to him and jerk off to him. I don't give a shit what they do. But at the end of the day, do you really want somebody just ruling over you and will silence you if you go against him?
I don't know.
I mean, that is true, but there are people that want how Trump is acting right now and how he's keeping that base. I mean, I swear if we keep on going, we're gonna have ourselves a dictator.
Well, I don't know why you guys think it's that crazy. I don't know why you think it's that crazy, Steve. Because the Germans, the Nazi party, took over Germany with only 32% of support. I mean, what we're witnessing, and this is what drives me so crazy and so pisses me off so much about the goddamn Democrats, is how they represent the true majority, but they act like they don't represent anybody.
Yeah, they're the ones that are like we said it. They're like, we are the resistance guys. We'll take them down. It's like, how can you do that when you're not even facing your opponent?
Yeah. You wanted to chime in at all, Lucas Maximus?
No. I think you guys spoke pretty well. Again, it's just hard to say how this Trump stuff will the Russia will even play out. I think however it plays out, we're not we won't know. We're not going to expect it. There's no precedent for this. So, however it plays out, I don't think we'll be even really ready for it. It'll be fucking crazy, I'll tell you that.
I agree.
Yeah,
well,
I think
yes.
so. Either way.
Final thought, go ahead, Flynn, I'm sorry.
Before you go to your final thought, one thing I last want to touch about was with Trump. I mean, there have been Republicans say if he fires Mueller,
Lindsey Graham.
well, it wasn't Lindsey Graham who said it. I can't remember the Republican senator's name, but he said if he does
He will take them
fire
golfing,
him,
and they will be fine.
No, you're funny. But he said that a lot of Republicans will go over to the Democrats and try and get him to
No
impeach.
way.
I don't see it.
No, I do.
They say it would be the end of his presidency. I mean,
Well, and I'll go with my final thought. Final thought on that. End of his presidency, it would not only be the end of his presidency, it would be the end of the Republican Party. Trump is the black hole. He is the void. He is every essential thing the Republicans never wanted to be. He really is. He's not even a true Republican.
In a hindsight, he was.
In a hindsight, he is, but
He's
in a
a working
hindsight,
chief
he's not.
president.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's not a conservative.
Right.
yes.
There it is.
He's
Bingo.
nowhere means a conservative or a moderate Republican. But as we
Right.
keep saying, those days are gone.
But he legitimately created. He's like the mother xenomorph, dude. He spawned this
Yes.
new outrage, like we said.
He is the ripple effect of everything from the media never doing their job to voters never really doing their research. I mean, this is Trump is the result of everything that was, I guess you could say, wrong in politics and media.
Yeah.
From the foo-foo media to the sensationalism to the politics of the chameleon politicians.
But what came out of that? What came out of that? These terrible media coverage and calling out fake news. What came from that?
I'll tell you what came from it. Two things came from it. We have essentially a game of light and dark here, and I hate to point it like that, but we do. We have one guy who's pretending to be a populist known as Donald Trump, a guy who says what you want to hear, and then we have an actual populist who hopefully will run in 2020, and that's Bernie Sanders. I really do. Bernie Sanders, see, it really is between these two. It really is. It's going to come down to, and I hate to really put it like that, but it is. It's policy over just talking now at this point.
Are you sure? I mean, 2020 is a long way away.
But I'm just saying, I think right now as we're getting deeper into the Trump presidency, people are starting to see those policy changes that he's making. It's like Bernie Sanders said, he can go ahead and tout his Republican tax plan all day long, but you know what Americans got? They got a 4-cent wage increase.
Ooh,
The Republicans did a standing ovation for that.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's terrible. What can you do, man? At this point.
What can you do? You can stand up, you can research, you can go out and vote.
Exactly.
You can
Do
stop
the actual
touting the
American
party
thing to
line.
do? Are you kidding me? Act like an actual American? No, why not?
Stand in line
I
and
don't wanna
protect
do that.
democracy because, again, final thought, what Trump has really taught me, and maybe this is just me, and I hope it's taught the rest of everybody else too, that democracy is very fragile.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing that we have here, but it's a very fragile one at that. And throughout the history books, I've always been told that no one could ever be above the law, nobody could ever be set that, go over those lines. But Donald Trump has defied every single one of them. So what does that tell you? It only took for someone like that to come along and just be like, okay, I'll step over the line.
And,
I'll step over the line again, and I'll keep stepping and pushing it till what's left.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So it makes you wonder: was there ever really a foundation to the Constitution and democracy?
Now that is an age-old question.
Yeah.
That
What's the
still does not
foundation?
have
What's
an
the
answer.
rock solid hard foundation of it? When do you finally let someone bash their way all the way through to the end before you say no more? And that's going to be the Minuteman podcast for tonight. I'm your host, CT Rob, with Lucas Maximus.
Hey.
With CT Steve.
Yep.
And Squid.
See you guys later.
And you guys have a great night.